My name is Jess Segal and I'm the Culture and Leadership Advisor at Kiwibank, and I sit in Wellington in the head office looking out at a very beautiful view over the harbour, which you can't currently see but is still very beautiful. At Kiwibank we have a leadership framework that feeds up into our wider bank strategy, and our goal is to lift leadership capability within Kiwibank and create authentic and brilliant leaders. I think it's a really interesting question around what does talent actually mean. I think it can mean a number of different things depending on the context that you put talent in. So for me, if I think about externally to my job at Kiwibank, in the music industry, talent is something that people think is an innate natural ability. You're born with a talent and you nurture it as you grow up and you go into a profession where that talent is wanted, I guess. When I think about it in a Kiwibank context, sure, talent could be a natural ability for something, and it's why you move into a specific role, but it's also something that can be built, so you don't necessarily have a natural talent for something, but you build capability in the area. I also think that when I consider talent at Kiwibank, it's not just about their skill, it's about the attitude that they have as well, the attitude they bring to work, the attitude that they bring to their role, to the tasks of their role. And that's how I would identify talent within the business, a mix of skill and attitude. So we've got a number of different ways that we look to retain talent. This isn't just something that sits within the leadership and culture team at all. This is something that we have to own across the entirety of the bank. So every leader, every employee is responsible for retaining talent and also growing their own talent. In my particular area, we look specifically at organisational culture and how we can make sure that people are as engaged as they possibly can be. Engagement isn't just I like getting up and going to work, it's also about your well-being, it's about being developed in your role, it's about happiness at work, it's a number of different things. The other side of what we do is around leadership and making sure that we've got the best possible leaders we have leading Kiwibank into the future and leading their team so that they are fully rounded, happy, engaged and developed people. Yeah, so the Kiwibank Lunch and Learn sessions were this idea that we had to try and get our leaders together. It's quite hard for us because we started out in Wellington, our head office in Wellington, but we've got a lot of regional sites now. We wanted to give people an opportunity to come together if they could and talk about something that was topical from a leadership point of view. So we've got various things that happen over the course of the year. They're sort of key dates on our corporate calendar. And some of those key dates require us to make sure that we've got the right skill and capability, expertise in our leaders. And the Lunch and Learn sessions gave us an opportunity to get them together and talk about what was actually really important, rather than sending out masses of words on huge documents. We wanted to give them sort of a fast and dirty way to build their skill. With TalentNZ, when we had them in for a Lunch and Learn session, I guess it was a slightly different offering to what we'd normally do, but equally as important. So Kiwibank is all about making Kiwis better off, and so for us it's about understanding how we can make sure our customers are better off, and from an internal point of view, how we can make sure our internal customers are better off. And for us, that's about attracting the best talent we can to the organisation and retaining the best talent that we can in the organisation. And so development is a huge part of that. A lot of people are really keen for development in their roles, and it's one of the reasons that they leave an organisation. If they feel like they're not nurtured by an organisation, then they'll probably go somewhere else that is going to nurture them. So Lunch and Learn kind of hits a number of different areas for us. It builds capability, it means that our leaders can network and get together, get to know each other better, and relationships are really important for getting stuff done. But it also means that we can build capability within those leaders, and the more skilled our leaders are, the more likely we are to retain them. There was a lot of talk after we did the TalentNZ session. I suppose people know about the general life cycle of an employee, and they understand how we might go about attracting people to Kiwibank, and people normally have a reasonable understanding around how you might retain them, but they potentially haven't put a lot of thought around what that cycle is, first of all, how we could actually do it within Kiwibank, and what that means to the wider population of New Zealand. which is a key point for us, right? If we're going to make Kiwis better off, then we can't just be thinking about the person directly in front of us. We have to think about the long-term consequence of what we're doing. So I think that was really the hot thing for us that came out of the TalentNZ Lunch and Learn session. Is first of all, people actually do care about attracting and retaining talent in New Zealand. Sir Paul Callaghan was a New Zealander of the Year, so he's someone that we totally looked up to and are very inspired by. So his message about talent in New Zealand really resonates with us. I think it just got people thinking about what we need to do. What can they do? What can I do at an individual level to make sure that I have the right people in my team, first of all, so I'm attracting the right people to this organisation, and then I'm doing enough to make them stay and make them want to be an advocate for this organisation, so that when they're standing around at a party, at the barbecue, it's that barbecue test, they're going to say, totally, come and work for Kiwibank. It's an amazing organisation and I've really benefited, not just obviously coming to work and getting a paycheck every fortnight, but I've actually grown as a person and I am a far more developed person in my field because I work for Kiwibank. Kiwibank's a bit different to the other banks. Most of the other top banks do have graduate programs. Kiwibank doesn't have a graduate program as such. We don't go out to universities and recruit people fresh out of uni. But we do have an emerging leaders program which we call LEAD. So once people have decided, yep, they want to come and work for Kiwibank, it's a place that they can absolutely align their values to, then we look at people that have been here for 6 months or more and whether or not they're the sort of people that we think are going to be the future leaders at Kiwibank. So we're really lucky because we're quite an attractive organisation on the whole. We don't really need to go out to universities to make people want to come and work for us. There's no incentive to come and work for us other than working for a cool organisation. So we know people are coming because they want to work here, which is awesome. Our LEAD program then takes it a step further and we put around about 15 people through a year. It's a 9-month, very intensive leadership program where we're really building authentic leaders. So we do a number of workshops, we do a number of mind gyms, we explore various leadership models. They're asked to do three assignments. It's a little bit like university actually. They're asked to do 3 assignments, a spoken assignment, a written assignment, and then they're asked to create a strategy that they have to present to our CEO and senior members of management at the end of the year, which is really scary. It's quite a hard task to ask people to do and continue doing their BAU role. So I think it's a very special program, and we've got a number of people that have been through the program now. So we've got a great pool of alumni, and they're in great roles. So I guess that's the coolest thing about it is they do this program. They're better off for it. They've got really increased self-awareness. They're amazing leaders, regardless of whether they lead people or not. They're still influencers, still leaders within the organisation, and they do amazing things for Kiwibank. I guess the other thing is we don't really discriminate against age, so you could be an emerging leader at any time of your career if you decide that that's something that you like to be doing. So when we look at the LEAD program, we've got people who are 20 and we've got people who are in their 50s. So it's quite unusual. It's a unique offering.